Oh, another catch-up video on EfilDay, EfilDay 12, I think. Anyway, brain. So we'll do brain, a couple of brain videos maybe. I kind of want to get to the point of, this two-brained idea, this brain that functions as if two. It's just maybe more of a timing issue. Your brain reacts to an initial circumstance and then has a secondary reaction, and then thirdary and fourthary, and we can almost think of these as different kinds of programs: slower, longer, more thoughtful. It's interesting that we got that one right. More thoughtful. It's more anyway. The more programming versus the less programming. The biologically instantaneous, and that the longer program has the extra stuff to react to, caused by the first initial reflex, which creates our feelings, our initial feelings, which are usually the boldest of the feelings. And then those feelings are nuanced by context and perspective created by our further, deeper reaction. So our brain reacts over time of an impact. I could walk into this tree, boom, there's an initial ooh, ow, ooh, ooh. Then there's context. Okay, I'm not bleeding, I'm not dead. I get some relief, some stress relief. I get some different things, some endorphins, some this, that. Start pumping in. My reaction tones down and winds down into settling into just I still have a reciprocal scratch and a little tear in my skin and a little pain associated with that, but no big deal, blah, blah, blah. And all our impacts in life are like that. I remember the Modern Mystic years ago made a video talking about a mousetrap hitting his fingers. And he described because he did it on purpose in the sense that he was aware that he wanted to do this, and so he waited for some stupid accident to happen. The accident happens, and he lived in it. He really thought about what he's experiencing while he was experiencing. Instead of reacting, he was just slow. He slowed down his reactions and just measured them. And why am I bringing that up? Yeah, I think it's just to illustrate that this is what's going on, is that the event happens, and then there's this process of its winding down. The event winds down and gets perspectivalized, contextualized by our brain, and in most cases, the impact is slowly and subtly reduced. Man, this is not. I really got to work on this fast. Anyway. Cold, nervy. Anyway, so I think it's easier to. It's always going to be metaphors, right? It's just goo, so we're not going to explain the goo explicitly. We're going to explain the goo in some other way that attempts to describe function. And I kind of like the simplicity of this idea of two brains, but it's really not two brains. But the idea that one brain is instigating feelings, and one brain is doing what we call thinking, which is also instigating feelings. It's just doing it by a process where the consciousness is aware of some of the mechanics it's using to feel better. But it's all happening subconsciously. This whole construction of this idea in this video is all a subconscious construction. I the witness, me, didn't have much to do with it. Didn't have anything to do with it. It just rose out of me, said, I'm in here. When you turn the camera on, I'll start doing this thing. And I'm like, oh, okay. I'm just, okay, just like you, I'm watching. I'm witnessing my brain producing the video. Producing the sentence structure, composing it, giving it nuance, gesturing, thinking about the camera angles. It's producing the video. And it's not anything inside. There's nothing I can identify It's the goo doing it. It's a program thing, a producer that I don't know. I have nothing to. I don't know whether he has a penis too or not, but whatever. I'm just saying, I have no idea where it comes from. I mean, I understand the creation of my identity, my personality and how I became me. But I mean, the workers that are doing the work, I don't really know them. I mean, it's all this subconscious stuff that's doing all the writing, the scripting, all the background, all the work, really, to get the job done, they're doing. And I'm just sitting here going, well, that's interesting. I'm feeling it, and I'm hearing it as if I'm you in a lot of respects. Like, this is happening, and I'm not making it happen. It's happening in there. Up in there. My hand's cold, so I didn't want to use my hand. Anyway, it's down below where it's warm. Anyway, can get distracted easily by feelings. Yeah, it really is easy to do. Okay, enough of that shit. People around. Yeah, I could always do a quickie. Anyway, no, never mind. Okay, so brain. Yeah, 2 brains. So, yeah, I'm just waiting to get out of the leaves. Really, there. Now I can switch hands, and I can become more intelligent. All right, we're talking about the 2 brain phenomenon. All right, so we have this instantaneous, we have this biological reaction, more mechanical, crude programming that reacts. So let's think of it as Dumb and Dumber. Okay, yeah, there's one guy called Dumb, and the other guy's called Dumber, and we'll just assume that, yeah, Dumber is smarter than Dumb, even though he's called Dumber, or vice versa. It's probably better to do vice versa because that makes more sense literally. But yeah, the initial reactions, the crude reactions, are these feeling things. They don't have thoughts connected to them necessarily, but they can. But they're feelings. They rise up in us, emotional reactions and physical sensations. And they're always being generated by reflexive reactions to the theater that I am. So what I'm seeing, feeling, sensing, and what my body is creating as sensations are the theater. So there's those 2 players. There's the world impacting my senses, and there's my biology reflexes creating emotions and, ooh, it's colder than I thought, or ooh, some other kind of thing. And so these are the crude, this is dumber. So Dumber's doing all that kind of stuff all the time. And when I have a thought, like an image of starving kid in Africa, cliche kind of thing, pops into my head. And I'll have an emotion tied to that. Or little sad child in China, lived too close to the lead factory. Some other kind of thing. And that's what my brain is doing. It's feeding the reality. It's like cloud seeding, like seeding the cloud for rain. It's seeding it with stuff that will provoke more emotion, because that program has an agenda. And that's the funny part of it. Our programs have agendas. Our programs are like, I have a motivation program that's like, yeah, make videos. And that's all it wants to do. It just wants to make videos. I have another program that's fix car. Wallpaper. I have these different programs that have agendas. And it just kind of depends on which one's, in control at any one minute who I am. Whether I'm video guy or wallpaper guy. But underlying all that is feeling guy, who's, dumber, is still always reacting. And I could have a thought, like a fear thought. I could say, what if, and you know how those what if things go. And you're just like, oh shit, I don't want that to happen. You know, or you feel kind of doomy, like, ooh, something's going to happen bad. Or you feel very optimistic, like, oh yeah, I think it's going to be really easy. You know, those kind of thoughts pop into your head, and you emotionally react to them. And, you know, sometimes they can spiral you out of a bad place, or they can spiral you into a bad place in terms of your overall perspective, because they seed each other. The negative sort of seeds the negative thoughts. So once you go with one negative thought, you know, a bunch of other negative images can follow. And, you know, certainly the inverse can happen, where there's another program inside of you that just says, you know, fix me, fix my psychology. And so it's always just saying, fix Gary, fix Gary, fix Gary. And so it monitors my state, and it says, wait a minute, you're in a bad mood. You have to get out of the bad mood. And so it tries to, you know, provoke, you know, hope and wish and optimism to get me to say, okay, I can do this. I can handle it. I'll deal with it. It'll be okay. Tomorrow's another day. Rainbow, unicorn, everything's okay. And so he'll do this kind of bullshit to bullshit me out of my negative bullshit, you know. So it's just bullshitting bullshit, but in the end. But anyway, so I think this is a solid metaphor. Whether you go with the time idea, that the first reaction is crude and simple, so it's more immediate. The dumber reaction, the emotional reaction, is really visceral, on the surface, core, not thoughtful, just has to do kind of with the mass, kind of the popular opinion kind of thing, the majority of the time this is the appropriate response kind of thing, the habit, lots of words you could use to describe that it's more immediate, less complicated a reaction, more consolidated a reaction, more condensed a reaction. It's like the condensed version, the simple definition, that kind of idea. And then we have this longer programming that's still feeding, is still chewing. So the first program chews it up into chunks and deals with chunks. And the second program, now let's chew on this a little longer. You know, see what it really is made out of. See if there's any little crunchy bits in there. And it looks for the more complex nuance, because it's doing more elaborate equations and math, logic math, on the circumstance. And so it's going to find connections, because it's taking some time. It's running some computer cycles to see if there's something more complicated in the mystery. It's trying to do the Columbo thing. It's looking around at the pieces and trying to add them all up, and that takes time. And so that time, that slower, dumb program, that's the smart one, then it reacts eventually. It probably reacts more than once, but I'm just saying it reacts as it notices something, and then it does some more chewing. It spits out a bit and says, look at that. You know, and then it'll chew some more. Yeah, look at that. And then the visceral reaction to what you just spit up on the table. And then you have the secondary reaction to what you spit up. So there's all this feedback to all these different programs reacting at different cycle speeds and through different layers of complexity, reacting to the theater of reality and your feeling senses on top of that, your emotional character, whether you're going to rose color it or black color it, you know, the color that your emotions will put on it to identify it as, you know, dark or light, sad or happy, optimistic, pessimistic, you know, scary, inviting. These kind of contrasts will be dictated by the character, the feeling, you know, thrown on top of the image. You know, whether you're, you know, just, you know, a comedian can say nigger, and then an asshole can say nigger, and those two are the same word, but because of that context, because of the color of your glasses, you'll understand one to be, oh god damn, that's funny, and one to be, oh man, that's depressing. So yeah, that's how your brain's doing it. That's how we're living it, and it's all deterministic programming. Even the initial feeling thing, it feels kind of ambiguous and wishy-washy and blah blah blah, but it's still just bits and bytes. It's still just a reaction, but it's the fact that your brain has to reinterpret it. That makes you think. What are they doing? Some kind of Christmas thing, I guess. Let's beat each other up for Christmas. Yeah, I don't know what it is. A six-legged race. I think they're looking for somebody's glasses, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, that's yeah. So it's all it's very mechanical, but it's like almost like it's automatic, like it's a translator, and what it's doing is it keeps translating the English. And that's what makes it seem ambiguous. Because you say something kind of explicit, mud is muddy, and your brain goes, let's translate that into English. Mud is wet and soupy. And then it says, let's translate that. Soupy is kind of tasty. Whoops, that doesn't work. We're talking about mud. That kind. It just keeps retranslating what it's perceiving, what it's feeling, and even though it's the same language, it just keeps bending it and perverting it and moving it into some other conversation, into the conversation of context. Yeah, that's probably enough. The point that I want to get to in the end of this. Yeah, that's just all this mechanics, and we're totally gamed by this subconscious programming. These environmentally composed, experientially composed, chemically imposed players that are these programs. And they really are just creating what I call me. So I'm just an expression of all of that stuff back there that I've encountered in my past. I'm not really a something. I'm not a cause. I am definitely an effect. I mean, I am now causing in the world, but I just mean I'm not a first cause. I'm clearly just an effect. And that should give you some perspective on this ego thing, which should be able to give you some idea that, yeah, it is called all kind of just bullshit. You're just being moved and motivated by all these mechanical forces in the environment. There's no you-ness, really. I mean, there's a you-ness. There's no you. Yeah, you should be, with that context in mind, you should be able to tone down your obsession with the idea that we're doing something incredibly interesting when all we're really doing is burning a lot of neural energy, to spin around in a circle. There's nowhere to go. There's nowhere to get. There's nothing to win. You're just chasing the noise your own programs are making. It's like your brain makes a smell, and then the other part of your brain goes out and says, "Where'd that come from?" It's that stupid. It's that contrived. It's a good word, contrived. Maybe I'll title one of these videos "Contrived." Make it relevant somehow. Anyway, damn, my hands are cold. Doesn't seem like that cold, but ooh. Yeah. Alright, I gotta do this wood stacking thing. So until next time.